Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Spranger, Chief Officer for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Christopher Newport. Christopher Newport University recognized we needed to take an intentional approach to achieving what we now know to be a best practice in higher education nationwide, inclusive excellence. My last message focused on unpacking that idea. Inclusive excellence is our guiding concept, and there are a few foundational terms that are important too. Along with that new phrase came a whole glossary of words and concepts that we've begun to explore and that we'll need to feel comfortable with. So this video is about just that, definitions. Verne Myers, renowned diversity trainer and consultant, has a neat book called What If I Say the Wrong Thing? And I know that's just exactly where many of us stand on this journey towards inclusive excellence. So, if we can all accept the fact that we're all inclined and likely to say the wrong thing at some point, then we can level set with some basic definitions to get us all on the same page. Diversity. First, diversity itself. Here, we're referring broadly to the characteristics that make individuals unique. There are two key forms of diversity: surface level or identity diversity and deep level diversity. Identity diversity is more about what we see, while the deeper level gets at who we are. Group and social differences like race, ethnicity, gender identity, ability, political and religious affiliations most often fall under surface level, representational, or identity diversity. Human differences like personality, learning style, and life experience would be more of your deep level diversity factors. Diversity involves counting and documenting the different kinds of people represented in your group, especially persons from groups that are traditionally underrepresented. So, next, inclusion. Myers says, if diversity is being invited to the party, inclusion is being asked to dance. On the active side, if an orientation towards diversity is ensuring that you invite people to the party that you don't normally socialize with, then inclusion is making sure to greet them and talk with them and ask them to dance. Inclusion is thoughtful consideration. It's doing the work. I've used this analogy as well. Diversity is inviting different folks to the party. Inclusion is making sure to socialize with them and ask them to dance. And equity, which we'll get to in a minute, is making sure there are playlist songs for everyone and that you learn their dances too. Then it's possible for everyone to feel seen, safe, and valued. Then everyone can feel like they belong. You know, dance like no one is watching. More formally, the One Virginia Strategic Plan states that inclusion is the active, intentional, and ongoing engagement with diverse people groups, practices, and communities in ways that increase your cultural affirmation and respect, your content knowledge, your cognitive sophistication, and empathetic understanding for how we interact with and within systems, organizations, and institutions. It's intentional. We're currently looking at how we do what we do at Christopher Newport and exploring how we can create opportunities to learn more about one another and increase our awareness and appreciation of each other as we grow as individuals, leaders, and community members. Now let's go one step further. What even is equity? It's not the same thing as equality. While both are noble goals, equality has to do with ensuring that everyone has the same thing or the same access. It's more compliance-based. If equality is providing the same to each and all, then equity is meeting the needs of each and all. Equity is the most important term of all because it refers to the creation of opportunities for historically underrepresented populations to have equal access and opportunity. Equity is the effort we make to maximize the potential of all students, all faculty, staff, administrators, by identifying and eliminating barriers like historical discrimination and existing imbalances that prevent those opportunities and success. Now for some abbreviations. You've probably already heard lots of them thrown around, and acronyms as well. Diversity, equity, and inclusion may be shown as DEI or DE&I, POC or SOC for people of color or students of color, BIPOC for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And here at Christopher Newport, we attend or work at a PWI, predominantly white institution. And you'll also hear underrepresented minority, URM. Those are the groups that are significantly lower in number relative to their number in the national or state population. Now, a few terms that have taken on new layers of definition recently in the context of DE&I are cancel, calling out, and calling in. Cancel has become a social media term intended to negatively affect an individual or an organization as a result of something they said or did. Calling someone out has the same purpose, and that's one approach. But here at Christopher Newport, where relationships are the heart of who we are, that just doesn't fit. And the nature of higher education is that learning must take place. So if someone says something or does something offensive in our community, our goal is to initiate a conversation so that learning does take place. We want to listen to where they're coming from and call them in to fellowship and change. That's the captain's way, not to call people out, humiliate them, harm them. We're all learning and growing together, and we all have biases and privilege that color the lenses through which we view the world. So how about that? More new words. Bias. We've heard a lot about implicit or unconscious bias over the last few years. This is a prejudice in favor of or against something or a person compared with another, usually in a way that's considered to be unfair. Our biases show up in the ways we speak, like regional colloquialisms, our ethics, our value systems, the ways we evaluate situations and opportunities. There are many kinds of bias. We all have biases. Then there's privilege, and we all have privilege as well. Now, this is the one that makes people start feeling things, I think. What I want you to take away is that privilege in this context represents special rights, advantages, immunities, resources that are only available to particular people or groups. So yes, there's white privilege, and male privilege, and gender identity privilege, and ability privilege, and educational privilege, and socioeconomic privilege. We all fall into some areas in which our access to opportunities and success has been based on something we have that another individual or group doesn't, whether we worked hard to earn it or whether we were born with it. Feeling comfortable with new words is important anytime we're starting on a new path. I hope talking through these definitions has been helpful for you, and there'll be more to come. I also hope the handout I've attached in the email that you can download will be helpful as a kind of cheat sheet as we move toward our training in the fall and as we do our diversity, equity, and inclusion work together. If you have any questions, reach out to me, either personally or through my diversity.inclusion@cnu.edu email address for more about what we're doing at the institutional level and beyond to move towards inclusive excellence. I mean that. Your input is welcome. Have a great day, and please remember, we're in this together.